Donald Trump desperately tried to compete with President Biden's visit to the southern border today by going to another spot on the border 350 miles away from the president, where once again, Donald Trump spoke gibberish about the border.
Millions of people from places unknown, from countries unknown, who don't speak languages. We have languages coming into our country. We have nobody that even speaks those languages.
No, we have people in this country who speak every language. And then Donald Trump added this lie about the people who are crossing the southern border.
These are the people that are coming into our country, and they're coming from jails, and they're coming from prisons, and they're coming from mental institutions, and they're coming from insane asylums, and they're terrorists. They're being led into our country, and it's horrible. It's horrible.
Needless to say, that is not an accurate description of the people crossing the border. He's lying about the people who cross the border and who they are. But at the same time, Donald Trump is doing everything he can to help everyone who is illegally crossing the border now to continue illegally crossing the border. Because Donald Trump ordered Republicans in the Senate and the House to not even allow a vote on a bipartisan border security bill negotiated by our first guest tonight, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, and Republican conservative senator from Oklahoma, James Lankford. Donald Trump publicly took credit for killing that bill.
They're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay. Please blame it on me. Please.
And so Donald Trump is saying that as long as Joe Biden is president, which is at least until January 20th of next year, Donald Trump wants everyone who is currently crossing the southern border to continue to cross the southern border. That means, in Donald Trump's own description of the people crossing the southern border, that means he wants terrorists to cross the southern border. He wants drug dealers to cross the southern border. He wants massive shipments of fentanyl to cross the southern border. He wants murderers to cross the southern border. He wants all of those people and things that he describes to cross the southern border that he says he is opposed to crossing the southern border. At the same time, says he's opposed to that. Now, those are the mental challenges that are presented to Trump voters every day, which they fail to comprehend. Donald Trump says people are going to die because the southern border isn't secure, and he wants them to continue to die every single day that he is not president. And Trump voters say, sounds great. So Trump politicians do exactly the same thing. Trump politicians who take orders from Donald Trump. President Biden described to the Border Patrol officers he met with today what that bill would do.
With this deal, we could hire 1,500 additional border security agents, 1,500 additional officers, and between ports of entry. For the last 4 years, staffing has been roughly that, flat, just flat. Agents working overtime, spending long hours patrolling the border, making major sacrifices. And I know it takes a big toll on them and their families. That's why in December I signed a bill finally getting Border Patrol agents what I've been pushed by and reminded by the congressman, overtime pay they deserve. And finally getting overtime pay. I mean, it's ridiculous it took this long. It was a long past time, and I was proud to do it, but we need to do more. It's time to step up. It's time to step up, provide them with significantly more personnel and capability.
And what you just heard is why the Border Patrol agents who in the past have supported Donald Trump are now supporting the bill Joe Biden wants to sign into law and that Donald Trump wants to prevent from becoming law.
The majority of Democrats and Republicans in both houses support this legislation until someone came along and said, don't do that, it'll benefit the incumbent. That's a hell of a way to do business in America for such a serious problem. We need to act.
And then Joe Biden made Donald Trump an offer he couldn't refuse. Unless, of course, Donald Trump doesn't really care about the border.
I understand my predecessor's legal past today. So here's what I would say to Mr. Trump. Instead of playing politics with this issue, instead of telling members of Congress to block this legislation, join me, or I'll join you. and telling the Congress to pass this bipartisan border security bill. We can do it together. You know and I know it's the toughest, most efficient, most effective border security bill this country has ever seen. So instead of playing politics with the issue, why don't we just get together and get it done? Let's remember who the heck we work for. We work for the American people, not the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. We work for the American people.
And here's what Republican Senator James Lankford said about the border security bill that he personally negotiated before Donald Trump ordered him to abandon his own bill.
I would also remind folks during the Trump administration, we also had days of more than 4,000 people that were illegally crossing the border under the Trump administration in 2019, and they were struggling because there's gaps and loopholes in the law.
Are we as Republicans going to have press conferences and complain the border's bad and then intentionally leave it open? After the worst month in American history in December, now we've got to actually determine, are we going to just complain about things, or are we going to actually address and to change as many things as we can?
Senator Lankford's partner in the negotiations for that bill, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, said today, the border is a money-making grievance machine for Republicans. That's all. Period. Stop. Keeping it a problem raises them money, drives ratings, helps them win elections. They don't want to fix it. That's why they killed the bipartisan border bill.